of the Ganges, which is a book written by Swami Tadatmanandaji, who has given his blessing for us to read this in his Sangha. And soon I hear he will be making it a free PDF as well, in case you wanted to get your hands on it. We were discussing his interaction with his guru, known as Swami Dayananda. His friend Swami Prakash was asking him about the nature of a guru and vice versa. So we ended yesterday's reading with a discussion on how one can spot a genuine spiritual teacher. And yeah, I can turn the music down, Claudia said. Oh, it is very loud, isn't it? Thank you for telling me. Forgot to turn it down from yesterday, ending our chanting. So, our protagonist, Swami Tadatmanandaji, the author, then simply known as Mark before he was a Swami, was asked by Swami Prakash, unless you are fortunate enough to find the right teacher at the very beginning, sometimes the first teacher is the right one, but sometimes you have to go on looking. What about for you, Mark? Did you meet Swami Dayananda first, or were you searching for some time? I told Swami Prakash my own story of trial and error. A frustrating 5-year search punctuated by several shining moments. Near the beginning of my spiritual quest, when I lived in California in the 1970s, I found a group led by a charismatic man who had founded a number of spiritual communities. He had integrated aspects of Eastern philosophy into his otherwise Christian teachings, creating a melange that was familiar but also filled with a joyous optimism that conventional Christianity seemed to lack. His message of love and fullness of life inspired me. I enjoyed the weekly healing services and the opportunity to, quote-unquote, soak up good vibrations, as we said at the time. When I learned the leaders claim that group members were divine emissaries, specially chosen by God to serve mankind, I felt uncomfortable with the apparent cultishness of this attitude. Later, as members shifted their attention from love and healing to balancing energy fields and cleansing auras, I felt very much out of place. I have never seen an aura and seriously doubt their existence. I decided it was time to move on. For several years, I took Hatha Yoga classes. I enjoyed the deep peace I felt after each gentle session of stretches, postures, and breathing exercises. My yoga teacher introduced me to her guru, a kind and affectionate old Swami from India. His flowing ochre robes, long white hair, and bushy beard perfectly fit my stereotypical image of how a guru should look. His message was simple, but beautiful. Live a spiritual life. Meditate. Practice yoga. Serve others. And eventually, you will gain the inner peace you seek. I did my best to live a spiritual life, practicing yoga and meditation every day, I slowly came to notice how the depth of my meditations was impaired whenever I consumed meat or alcohol. So I became a vegetarian and gave up alcoholic drinks. With that lifestyle, I felt happier and more peaceful than ever before. Yet, I was not truly satisfied. Perhaps I had benefited from those practices as much as possible. Or maybe I was just impatient, but I wanted something more. Being a pragmatic young computer engineer, I reasoned that some kind of powerful meditation technique could catapult me into enlightenment. I found such a technique in a group whose mesmerizing chanting of Sanskrit mantras fascinated me. I chanted and meditated with them for hours at a time in a darkened, incense-filled room that was somehow permeated by their guru's intense energy. I had some incredible experiences in that room. So did many others. Some experienced involuntary movements of their limbs or spontaneous contortions of their bodies while meditating. Occasionally, a spine-tingling shriek escaped from someone's mouth when he or she reached a wholly new plane of consciousness. These outbursts unnerved me each time they shattered the silence in the dark chamber. Over a period of several months, I enjoyed many amazing meditative experiences. It seemed like I could experience anything if I meditated on it fervently enough. But after more than a year of chanting and meditating with the group, I found myself essentially unchanged. The others, too, seemed not to have undergone any significant transformation. I wondered what, if anything, we were really accomplishing. Perhaps we were simply seeking new experiences, finding joy and exhilaration through meditation instead of worldly pursuits. In a way, it reminded me of experimenting with psychoactive drugs in the 1960s. I began to doubt whether meditation techniques were truly the key to realizing my vaguely conceived spiritual goals. In those days, I drove the back roads every Sunday morning to a charming rustic temple nestled in Southern California's coastal mountains overlooking the Pacific Ocean. There, I attended lectures on Vedanta, taught by one of several swamis. These lectures were utterly unlike sermons one might hear in a church. Instead of learning that I am a sinner, I heard a Swami say that there is no sin but ignorance. Each week, a different Swami spoke on a new topic: the immortality of the soul, one truth, many paths, the unity of religions, and so on. Sometimes a lethargic old sannyasi would deliver a boring talk in a deadly monotone that defied all efforts to keep my eyes open. But sometimes a dynamic, ochre-robed Swami would unfold a dazzling vision of reality that took my breath away. I returned each week to gather whatever flashes of insight I could snatch, insights that usually evaporated as quickly as drops of water on a frying pan. I like that line too, Gregor. And Hello, Auntie. Driving home from the temple of the winding foothill roads, I used to reflect on the Swami's words. By the end of the ride, whatever I understood was already fading and growing unintelligible. The vision conveyed by these Vedanta teachings seemed profound and transformative, yet somehow elusive. I wanted to abide steadfastly in that realization and visualize the fact that I needed a teacher who could help me realize that goal. I told Swami Prakash. I first met Swami Dayananda when he gave a lecture on Vedanta at a local community center. He struck me as a no-nonsense teacher who was methodical in his approach and particularly careful about his choice of words. As I listened, concepts I had only vaguely understood before became clear and meaningful. By the lecture's end, I felt there was much more to be discovered with his help. I began to study under his guidance in the US and India. At first, I presumed I would eventually become disillusioned with his teachings and move on, as I had with previous gurus. But that disillusionment never came. His teachings continued to lead me forward. When I finally could study with him full-time during our 3-year course in Pennsylvania, I was absolutely amazed. He was able to lead me to discover exactly what I sought. So, I guess that makes him a true guru, at least for me. And hello, Shakira. Swami Prakash nodded and then asked, "Looking back, what is your opinion about the other gurus?" "Each of them had something to teach me," I answered. "I learned a lot from them. Those years practicing yoga and meditation helped prepare me for the intense inquiry I underwent with Swami Dayananda." "So you see then," Swami Prakash remarked, "when you were finally ready, the true guru appeared, isn't it?" We both laughed. Growing more serious, he quoted a verse from the Mundaka Upanishad. "To realize the goal, may one duly approach a competent teacher who not only knows the scriptures complete, but also abides steadfast in reality, in fullness, in peace." Swami Prakash said this verse shows the two main qualifications for gurus. First, they must be thoroughly grounded in the scriptures, containing the methodology necessary to lead one to discover what is sought. He compared the scriptures to a roadmap which must be properly interpreted by a guru to guide a seeker. Secondly, gurus must actually possess the vision sought by the seeker. They cannot impart what they do not personally embrace, even though they may have extensive scriptural learning. Suppose, Swami Prakash continued, someone here has been to the Taj Mahal, but does not know the route to get there. He can tell you how beautiful it is, but he cannot take you there. He cannot help you personally experience the beauty of the Taj. In the same way, someone can have a profound vision of reality, but not the words to convey it to you. Such a person is not a guru. They are merely a mystic. A mystic can inspire you, but cannot make you see what they see. A guru is one who knows how to lead you to discover what they discovered too. On the other hand, scriptural learning alone is not enough. Suppose you have a map of India and want to go to the Taj Mahal. If you don't happen to know it is in the city of Agra, the map will not help you. For this reason, a guru must know the goal. They must already have discovered the Atma, the Self. Only then can one properly use the scriptures to lead you. Swamiji, I asked, do you think it is always necessary to have a guru? Suppose there was a book in which the scriptures were completely unfolded by an author who had the two qualifications you described. Could that book take you to the place of a guru? Sorry, could take the place of a guru. Perhaps, he answered. Do you know of such a book? Well, no. Neither do I, he wryly replied. But suppose you could read a book like that. When you misunderstand or misinterpret the author's words, who is going to correct you? And when doubts arise while reading it, the book cannot answer your questions, isn't it? But can't books help us? Certainly they do. Yet, we still need teachers to help us understand those books. You can learn almost anything from a book, even medicine or engineering. But it is easier to learn with the help of a competent teacher. Why struggle with Vedanta books on your own when there are great teachers like me available? I laughed at his playful jest. And now, he announced, you must excuse me so I can prepare to conduct my chanting class. Swami Prakash walked toward the dining hall to wash and return his teacup so I can prepare to conduct my chanting class. Swami Prakash walked toward the dining hall to wash and return his teacup. I was delighted that he had not lost his sense of humor when he became a monk. But then, many Swamis I have met have been jovial or even silly at times, not grave or serious. Perhaps such lightheartedness is an expression of their inner freedom. They don't seem to take themselves too seriously. And with that seriously unserious note, we will pause our reading at the end of the chapter. It happens to be. And with that seriously unserious note, we will pause our reading at the end of the chapter. It happens to be too. What a great discussion on Swami Tadatmanandaji's journey, but undoubtedly has already expressed himself through all the teachings that this author has embedded in the book so far. And I quite like that remark about a book that was so good it could replace a guru. And Swami Prakash says, do you know of such a book? No, neither do I.